Now we're starting off with our newspapers, looking here in Nigeria with the Nation newspaper. On the front page of the Nation newspaper, big story here says, last minute intrigues in PDP over Atiku's running mate. That's the big story there. Last minute intrigues in PDP over Atiku's running mate. There's still some sub-stories there. We're saying Ikimi panel to screen Wike anxiety among party chiefs over choice. Yesterday we talked about Nyesom Wike being the potential candidate or the potential running party for the PDP, or running, the potential vice presidential candidate for the PDP. Osalgia, I'm sure you saw the video that's been making the rounds on the internet where he says, I will never be vice president.
I mean, so the thing with election time is, propaganda, machines will be rolling, and a lot of people will be able to bring back old content, old videos, old statements, old articles, to contradict or to push a narrative that they want to push, and I feel like those things will come out. There's more than one video of him saying that. But I also understand that people are allowed to have a rethink.
Exactly. I was about to say that people are allowed to change their mind. Just because yesterday I said, I never want to be this, doesn't mean that tomorrow I don't feel a different type of way. So anyway, moving on, still on the front page, on page 8, we have aviation fuel hits 714 per litre as petrol queues return. Everybody will stay in their house, no more traveling. Of course, this is impossible. But what this means is, it's hitting the aviation sector and invariably hitting the economy as well. Page 27, Oyo Assembly slams misconduct charges against Deputy Governor. You want the details of that? It's on page 27. PDP, others, Sean Ekiti Peace Pact signing. That's on page 5. And NBS puts inflation rate at 17.71%. That's on page 6. That's really, really a large one there. Two more stories. Issues in varsity union strike complicated, says Minister. Government ASU talks ongoing. These talks have been ongoing since I can remember. We want to see a resolution. Students are clamoring to return back to their schools, and the employees want to get back to work. Enough of the talks. We need to see action. Final story here. OPEC reports Nigeria's oil output declined. Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Angola, Congo raise supplies. I cannot wrap up the nation without taking this story. On page 3, our monarch to invoke curses on Catholic Church attackers. I don't know if you saw the video, Salgi, of several women who gathered together were invoking the god of, I think it's god of thunder or the god of iron, to punish the perpetrators of the attack. I think people have been pushed to desperate measures, and that's evident when you're in an economy or in a country where the government, the role of the government and the security is then being transferred to deities, because the deities have a lot they are handling. There are certain primary objectives that should be provided by the government. Things like security, safety, intel. We need intel. How are these people able to get in and get out and nobody knows anything about them?
Yeah, and when, government doesn't seem to be acting as fast as the people want, people would always resort to other means. And you can't, act like in Africa some of these things don't work. I'm not sure how successful this will be. And people would always say, what, you might as well use it to do, other things. You call on the gods to also fix other parts of governance. But let them express themselves the way that they choose to. This is coming from a place of hurt and anger and frustration, so they would go ahead.
And rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I'll be taking on the Nation newspaper. We'll head over to our next paper this morning.
All right, let's see what we can find on the Punch also here in Nigeria. And you remember election 2023 is still making the biggest stories. You see there, Wike Okowa face panel today. Camps fight over Atiku's VP slot. Atiku needs a VP that can help rescue Nigeria from the APC. Okowa's aide insists. And also, Wike's structure would give Atiku victory, says Unke, who's an ex-Rivers commissioner. It also says here, APC may unveil Tinubu's VP today amid Muslim ticket controversy. The focus really is on winning the election for these persons, not necessarily about fixing the country. But we'll find out more as time passes. Let's see what else. Varsity lecturers and others spend 719 days on strike under Buhari.
Ooh.
Also, only Lagos, Delta, Kaduna, and 2 others pay pensions, says Pencom. You can also see pictures here where Ekiti governorship candidates sign peace accord. NSCDC deploys 9,747 personnel for the Ekiti elections. Inflation surges again, hits 17.71% amid rising prices. And still on the Punch, experts call for action as monkeypox spreads to 15 states. Or your lawmakers begin moves to sack deputy governor. And on the Owo massacre, like we just spoke about, Senate demands raid on killers' hideouts, helicopter, drones deployment. Rivers woman sells her sister's baby for 600,000 naira. Police arrest suspects.
Wow. And
reps, of course, are urging INEC to extend voter registration deadline. One or two others we can quickly throw in. 70 airlines failed in Nigeria. 3 may collapse soon, says the AON. And we can also find here Buhari OK's TCN on bundling. NERC orders 5,000 megawatts delivery by the 1st of July. Those are the big ones on the Punch newspapers this morning.
All right, we head over to Uganda this morning. On the front page of the Daily Monitor in Uganda, Ugandans fly to death in job hunt. Literally from frying pan to fire. Now this story is about Ugandans who are leaving the country in their thousands because they're graduates without jobs, seeking greener pastures in the largely desert Middle East countries. And now the Human Rights Report has reported that now 28 Ugandans have died there in 2021 alone. People will do desperate things because they have gotten to a desperate situation. They say desperate times call for desperate measures. And this is why we are continually urging the governments around the continent to step up and stand up for the citizens to avoid situations like this. We can see a picture here. This is a picture of a very scanty class. This is a primary school in Ginger City. They didn't have lessons the whole of yesterday. We have reports that many teachers of public schools across the country did not report to duty after they announced a nationwide strike over the pay starting yesterday. Now, there's also another story. NUP MPs defy Bobby on returning 40 million shillings, or 40 million shillings cash. Kazo mourns former legislator Bafaki. How girl lost source of school fees. That's on page 9. Then on page 3, we have government set to destroy 150,000 COVID doses. You want to find out why? The details are on page 3. Protests in Congo against Rwanda and Uganda for allegedly backing M23 rebels. That's on page 2. And the final story here, how digging into her past can cripple your emotions. This is on page 24. Salge, are you team I don't care about the past?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, really?
No need to even go further. Yes. It depends on what's in the past, though, but... but yes,
some people
I
require,
am.
The whole bringing everything to the table. Let's talk about everything that's happened, so we're starting on a fresh slate. Someone that say, you know what, if it's happened in the past before I met you, before I started dating you, it shouldn't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean, that, I wouldn't also like to hear it. I might just, hear it in passing, but it's not necessarily something I'm going to ask about. Because it doesn't really matter. It's not going to change my thoughts about today. But I'm not going to be the one to ask about it. If you tell me, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, all right. That's all we have on the Daily Monitor. Salge is not interested in monitoring what's happened in your past.
Not at all.
We're done with Uganda. Let's move over to another country.
Now let's look at what's happening today in Kenya on the Daily Nation. The big story you can see on your screen, and it's a picture of a senator. It says the fall of Sakaja. If you remember, yesterday we spoke about the Kenyan elections and some persons that may be disqualified because they've not been able to clarify on their certificates. It's on page 12 and 13. The Nairobi super senator who is caught in a race against time over the validity of his Ugandan university degree that could lock him out of the city's governorship race. 2 days of high drama, of course, continued yesterday. You can read more on the Daily Nation this morning. And also national debt. Kenya defaults on 5 billion shillings Aro and Kimwaro loans. 4 arrested as police step upon Forongai felons. And do we have any more? I think we can squeeze in one more. More pains as millers raise cost of unga. These are the stories. Of course, the lead stories there is on Decision 2022, Birds of a Feather. Will they pass the degree test? Plus, why the judiciary is a weak link. These are the big ones on the Daily Nation newspapers this morning.
And that's all that we can take this morning. But that story, it piqued my interest. Why the judiciary is a weak link.